Video of Dwight Howard in a Charlotte Hornets uniform. Because I'm not sure if you've noticed, Smitty, but the Wizards' big offseason edition hasn't played or practiced since training camp opened in Washington. A back injury has kept Dwight Howard off the court, and Coach Brooks saying Friday that while Dwight probably will practice Monday, he wouldn't commit to a timeline for Dwight to be ready for game action. Well, game action, final preseason tune-up for the Wizards. They've got Guangzhou Long Lions in from the Chinese Basketball Association. They've been in town all week practicing with the Wizards, and how about this guy? Remember him? Mo Spates.
He is definitely comfortable in a NBA arena. See the smile? Is he auditioning, Jared, trying to get back in the league?
I don't know if Steve Kerr ever gave him a green light as bright as the one he had on Friday in D.C. Troy Brown Jr., the first-round draft pick for the Wizards, showing off here.
So his versatility is much needed for this team. He can play a little bit of point. He's a great passer. Obviously, he can score, and he's confident. And I think we look at his length as far as on the defensive end. Here's a kid that will get a chance, I think, to get some playing time, with the Washington Wizards, and I love Devin Robinson.
Yeah, Troy Brown Jr. had 21. Devin Robinson, you mentioned him there. He had 23. John Wall, Bradley Beal both sat out, as well as I mentioned Dwight Howard. Mo Spates, how about this? 41 points, his career high, and in the NBA, 32 points. Kristaps Porzingis still out, rehabbing the injury. Will we see him at all this year? Knicks and Nets, it's a big battle in New York, and look at this. Trey Burke came to play in the final preseason game of the year for New York. He came out strong last year for the Knicks,
did he? When he got called up, he gave himself a nice opportunity, and that's why we're seeing him again this season.
All right, a guy who believes he should have been the most improved player in the NBA last year, Spencer Dinwiddie. He hit from three there. How about Karis LeVert? A lot of young talent the Nets are trying to develop.
I mean, they have some guys with Karis LeVert. Obviously has some injuries coming out of college. He can definitely play D'Angelo Russell.
How about this guy? He does more than block shots. Jared Allen from the corner. Stretch five.
Jared Allen setting up in that corner, knocking down threes. Boy, the league has changed.
What's better, his stroke or the hair? You mentioned here, Tim Hardaway Jr.
His hair, Mike, for sure.
Okay. X-ray is negative for Tim Hardaway Jr. on a wrist injury. Not good in the last preseason game of the year for New York. D'Angelo Russell hits the floater. He had 18 points.
He looks comfortable. And there's Porzingis. That's a good sighting, at least to see him walking around and being around the team.
Hazonia continues to put up some numbers here. Noah Vonleh, we'll see how much run he gets with the Knicks this year. You got Zach LaVine, been mentioning a lot about the Jimmy Butler deal. Remember, he was sent before last season to Chicago, signed a big extension over the summer. Look at the move by Zach LaVine, taking on the Nuggets here. Bulls pushing in transition, and LaVine on a Friday night.
The young Bulls, you can see those youngsters getting out and having a good time. And look at Murray. I like Jamal Murray.
Remember, the GMs picked him to have a breakout season this year for the Denver Nuggets. Nikola Jokic, I know he's a favorite of yours. Talk about modern-day big, does a little bit of everything. The offense runs through him.
Reminds me a lot of a guy I played with in Arvydas Sabonis. Not a lot of foot speed when I play with Arvydas, but they just have great feel for the game, and confidence level is at an all-time high. This is Jabari Parker.
Well, much like Jokic, doesn't need to play D when you're scoring, right? He doesn't want to play much D. Parker, 19 points off the bench for the Chicago squad.
Looking good. Look at the stroke. Everybody's working on the three ball.
Including you, I've heard. Denver wraps things up here with a Friday night win in Chicago, which is where Michael Jordan won 6 titles. Kobe got 5 rings. And each one of those 11 championships looks similar. The Bulls and Lakers were both executing the triangle offense, created and perfected by Tex Winter. A genius can still be spotted in the Warriors dynasty these days. The story of basketball will forever include Winter's triangle. However, Wednesday, after 96 years, the Hall of Fame assistant coach passed away. Ro Parrish has more.
During his 6-decade coaching career, Fred Tex Winter became known as one of the game's greatest innovators. After more than 30 years as a successful coach in college, he would turn to the professional ranks, where in 1985 he became an assistant with the Chicago Bulls. Winter eventually worked under head coach Phil Jackson, and they started a long and successful basketball partnership.
Tex Winter was a stalwart companion of mine. He was a coach for 15 years of these 20. So that was a real good teamwork that we had together.
Their relationship was special. Phil really understood Tex, and Tex really understood Phil. And the two of them together mixed made a nice match.
He was pretty much the one that really spearheaded our offense.
That offense was Winter's brainchild, one he had been teaching and perfecting for decades. It was called the triple post. However, later it would become better known by its signature shape.
Basketball is a game of geometry. We preach that a great deal of the time. So here you have a triangle on the sideline. Here's a triangle between these three men. Here's a triangle between these three men. So that's why we call it the triangle offense.
So it was a ball movement, player movement offense. And a lot of us had not been exposed to that at all. So it was different, and it took a lot of time for us to kind of grasp it. He did not let any aspect of the offense go without being drilled upon.
After helping the Bulls to 6 NBA championships, he would follow Coach Jackson West, where Tex would be an integral part of 4 more titles with the Los Angeles Lakers.
I call him Yoda. I mean, I was extremely fortunate to have him. So he basically raised me. And when he first got here, I mean, it was he and I in the room talking basketball, watching film hours and hours and hours. He, as well as Phil, responsible for my evolution as a basketball player and seeing the game differently.
A lot of what I do here with the Warriors is patterned after the things I learned from Tex. He was a unique individual and had touched thousands of lives, and Tex was a special person to me and everybody who played for him.
Tuesday night, opening night in the association, and NBA TV's coverage starts early. 4 o'clock Eastern, 1 Pacific. Skip work, skip school, just be locked into NBA TV. Followed after game time as starters, then Smitty's favorite show, 10 before tip, 6:30.
That's your show, huh? I think
well, I'm on it.
You're marketing, huh?
We lead right into TNT's doubleheader on Tuesday night. So before we get to the regular season, let's put a bow on the preseason. We give you Smitty's 5 takeaways from the exhibition action. Let's start here with the Jazz, but not about the defense, the offense.
Yeah, the offense, and obviously the Utah Jazz last season, their offense has struggled at times. We know they're very efficient and can defend, but they got out in this preseason 5-0 as far as record, but the offense averaging 123 points in the preseason. Yes, it's the preseason, but those guys got the rhythm going and knocked down shots. Grayson Allen averaging 12.6 points, shooting 50 from the field and about 50 from 3, so he's definitely helping that offense for the Utah Jazz.
It was an offense that was 19th in the NBA in scoring per game last year. Speaking of scoring, the Wizards, takeaway number 2 from the preseason, their bench, they need to be big this year.
Yeah, number 1 so far in the preseason, scoring-wise, and last year they were ranked around 16. They have some new additions. Troy Brown, their junior, their draft pick. Austin Rivers has come over. Satoransky, who played a lot of starters minutes, I think is going to be fantastic. Oubre Jr.
But Jeff Green.
And, oh, man, Uncle Jeff Green, who I think is going to be a great addition for them. So that's good for the Washington Wizards. We know they're loaded as far as a starting, unit, but I think this bench can definitely help them.
And we learned the other day that Bradley Beal is the president of the Jeff Green fan club. He's really excited to play with him. Go up a little north to Madison Square Garden. The Knicks looking for some players. Don't know what they're going to be all about, but an undrafted rookie has arrived.
And I was surprised he wasn't drafted, but I think you start to look at this New York Knicks team and you have a guy that's a surprise guy, Alonzo Trier. He has been fantastic. Like I said again, undrafted, but he's averaging 14 points, shooting 47%. He has a chance to get some major minutes with the Knicks. He's another isolation guy that can get his shots and can play well. He was a big-time player coming out of high school and college, just didn't get drafted.
On a 2-way contract, it appears he'll start with the Knicks G League team, and then as the Knicks need guys, they will bring him into the Garden to play. Let's talk about a backup for the Oklahoma City Thunder. We mentioned Russell Westbrook's injury earlier. What does Dennis Schroeder do for this team, and what have you noticed so far?
Well, you have a starter that was with the Atlanta Hawks, and obviously through this trade that he'll get a chance to come off the bench and I think also play with the Russell Westbrook. I mean, Dennis Schroeder can flat out defend. He's one of the guys that can play pick and roll, can get into the lane. What I like about him, he got a chance to gain some trust with the staff, also with his teammates while Russell Westbrook is out. I think he's going to be a great addition for the OKC Thunder.
In the preseason, Schroeder, 22 assists, just 11 turnovers. Everybody says Sam Presti had the great offseason retaining Paul George, obviously. But the Schroeder move and some of those tweaks Presti made were big for the bench as well. All right, we've been talking a lot about the Jimmy Butler drama in Minnesota. Let's shift the attention there to what Tom Thibodeau does have available to him. Karl Anthony Towns, not acceptable, not happy with how they've been playing in the preseason. He was third-team All-NBA. Is a guy like Towns ready now to take that next step and carry a team to a playoff?
You know, and that's the big question. Even with Jimmy Butler, and they didn't have any distraction. It was like, when can when can Karl Anthony Towns and Andrew Wiggins take that next step far as their game, far as leadership? And now, if no Jimmy Butler, where does it come from? They have some guys in Derrick Rose, Luol Deng, and also Taj Gibson, but I think it has to come from Karl Anthony Towns and Andrew Wiggins.
Well, they say that the score and result doesn't matter in the preseason, but does it? We come back on this edition of Game Time and tell you how the Warriors have fared over their last 4 runs to the NBA Finals in exhibition action and what it may mean for the season ahead. Game Time coming right back on NBA TV. Of the preseason, Damian Lillard and C.J. McCollum.
Ooh, he got into his jump shot quick.
McCollum, 14.5, 21 in the game against the Sacramento Kings. Number 2 pick, Marvin Bagley III.
I like his game.
Got the start the last 2 times out. Last 2 games, 14 of 28 from the field. Interesting to see what position he gets used at.
Score.
How about Myers Leonard rising above the rim? Leonard, 13-point fourth quarter. He had 17 for the game. Seth Curry over Leonard from downtown. Portland wraps up the preseason with a W. At the buzzer, what's behind your preseason record? Well, if you were the defending champs, doesn't mean anything. That Golden State wasn't very good this preseason. Last time they were below 500, they lost in the finals. More from this game. We showed you the highlights earlier. Remember when Lance Stevenson got ejected? Well, Golden State had the option to pick somebody from the Laker bench to shoot a free throw. Steve Kerr said, LeBron James, you're the guy.
That's pretty good. You can see they're having a lot of fun. And Steph and those guys, definitely, they're trying to get him to take off his sweats and get out there and shoot the free throw.
And they know if the King has any weakness, it's fourth quarter free throws, right?
Okay.
But here's the real problem. LeBron didn't have a jersey, so that's
what it was. Okay.
Yeah, that's why.
They should have got a tick.
So JaVale McGee was the next choice.
I'm sure they'll pick JaVale.
Listen, you have to pick out something with LeBron.
Yes.
Dude, he's going to win MVP.
You ready for the season?
Let's go. Come on.
Let's go.
Preseason over. We'll see you in the regular season.